Welcome back to episode 2 of the Brazenest podcast, where we're all about helping you build an online business, work less, earn more, travel often, and live your most brazen, audacious, and badass life. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. I am cranking out the content. I hope you have enjoyed episode 1 so far. And if you're liking the show, make sure that you subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe over on YouTube. I'd love to have you join the fam over here. So today, we are going to talk about how you can start your online business for less than $60. 60. Yes. It is a magical time in the world, my friends, where you can actually start a business for as little as $60. I mean, I feel like a lot of us could probably just not go out for drinks this week and have $60 in our pocket right now. It is an amazing, amazing time to be able to launch an online business and put your ideas and thoughts and skills and passions out into the world and actually earn an income from it. So we're going to walk you through what are the key elements that you need in order to get your business up and running, what you don't need, and a lot of mistakes that people make when they are launching their online business and just getting started. And so I am going to reference episode 1 of the podcast where I talked about the 4 pillars of an online passive income business. This is what the show is all about. And so I am going to be framing these recommendations, these tools and elements that you need to get started around that framework and around that business model. Of course, it really does depend on which type of business that you're going to launch, right? So if you want to start a coffee shop tomorrow, this is not the episode for you, for instance. But if you want to start anything that can be delivered online, collect payments online, where you don't have to be involved in the transaction, this is what you are going to need just getting started. Now, like anything, you can choose to spend a lot more money and invest a lot more of your hard-earned capital up front, but I'm going to show you a way that you can get started at a very professional level, but not have to spend a ton of money to start putting stuff out into the world. Now, before I jump into the actual meat of the podcast, I want to remind you to I want you to remind you to go download our 30-day online income roadmap. This is a step-by-step checklist that I've put together that outlines everything I would do if I was starting with no audience, no income, no presence online whatsoever, no product. And this is what I do step by step, week by week, to start building my online business and my online brand. So just go download that at brazenest.com/roadmap. It's completely free. If you take action on it, I promise you that you will see results if you take action. That's part of being a business owner. You got to do some stuff. So go download that at brazenest.com/roadmap. I'll have that link down below as well. All right. So when you think of starting a business, a lot of people, they're not thinking of this online business. They think of high growth tech startups in Silicon Valley. You might think of the businesses you might see on Shark Tank. Actually, I have a friend of mine who was on Shark Tank. It's a really funny product. But yeah, so these are product-based businesses, and they need investor capital to either scale or grow really, really fast. Silicon Valley, startups, you think they got a $5 million Series A investor round. You might hear a lingo like that. This is not the type of business that you need to start. You do not have to start a brick and mortar, a coffee shop, a boutique. You don't have to do anything like that. You can actually start a business online with helping people and adding value in the online ecosystem that has nothing to do with getting investor capital or needing a brick and mortar space. I want you to broaden your perspective about what business can look like. And in episode 1, I really dove deep into what an automated online business can look like by capitalizing on your knowledge, skills, and experience. But I want to sort of take that a step further and put that framework in front of you and show you what you actually need. How much money do you need to spend? What are the tools you need to get that system up and running? Okay. So the beauty of the online passive income business model, as I mentioned before, is that it's going to give you location freedom, time freedom, hopefully financial freedom, or at least financial wiggle room if you're just developing a side hustle for now. And it also gives you creative freedom. And that's probably one of my favorite ones, is like creative freedom. You get to do a lot of things because you have automatic income coming in on the back end over and over again. Now, the other thing about running an online business is it doesn't take a huge team. I have never had a huge team, and I've made hundreds of thousands, $500,000 online, and I've never had a big team. In fact, I've never had full-time team members. I've had independent contractors working for me, and I love supporting them in their businesses, but I've never needed a big team just because there's just not a lot of human capital needed in order to run these businesses. You can have a big team if you want to, but you don't have to have a big team to make them run smoothly and operate smoothly. The other thing about an online business is that you can go to market fast, right? So if you are developing a physical product business, or if you're, building out a physical retail space, or if you are developing an app, for instance, there's going to be a period of time where you're just in development mode. You're fixing up the space so that it's ready to bring in customers. You're developing the app so you can bring on your first, alpha testers and beta testers. You have to actually get prototypes of the physical product. If it's like clothing, you have to get samples of those things. That takes time. That takes a lot of money to get those things off the ground. Believe me, I've invested over $100,000 in tech in developing my one of my companies, which is a tech platform, I should say. So it takes a lot of money and time up front to get those things off the ground. Online businesses in the knowledge economy are not that way. And I feel like even if you have a brick and mortar business, or you have an existing product-based business, you should be thinking about how you can bring on a passive income digital product element or component to your broader business model and your product suite. And you can get an online product, an online business up and running super fast. It's super simple and streamlined if you use the tools I'm about to talk about, and it's super affordable. And like I said, everything I'm going to tell you today is less than $60. I am going to give you another alternative that is a little bit more than that. However, if you're like strapped for cash, you're like, honey, I don't want to spend a lot of money right away, then you can get started for $60 today. And literally you could have your business up and running by tomorrow, by today, by tonight, depends on when you're watching this video. So it is super fast. Now, if you don't believe me, I want to give you a little case study on how I have done this in one of my businesses that is still up and running today. Inside Study Abroad was my first business. Technically, it started as a blog over on Blogger back in 2009. What up, OG blogger over here. And then later I migrated to a WordPress hosted platform, and then later to Squarespace. And now I have everything hosted on Kajabi, which I'll talk about in a second. But my business was completely bootstrapped. I didn't have a ton of money. I was working in education. I did not make a lot of money. And so I did not have a lot of cash to throw at. I had a little bit of money to invest in a domain, and that was pretty much it. And then I invested in some other tools to help deliver my first digital product, which is an ebook. And that didn't cost me anything other than processing fees. And that's how I started making my first income online. I also did some one-on-one coaching in those first days and resume reviews. And I just sent people to a PayPal checkout page, and they bought it through there. So it was not fancy. It was not well oiled and very glossy and glamorous, but I was starting to make an income online, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I will never forget the first day that somebody actually bought the ebook that I had for sale, and it was all about grad school, which is like so specific to that business. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, someone just paid me $14 for a digital product, and I was not there. And then it just kept selling and selling. And that product alone, I think, brought in, over the course of its lifetime, I think about $12,000 in sales. So it started with one sale on a janky website that was hosted on Blogger, and now it's a thriving multiple six-figure online business. So believe me, you can start with very modest, humble structure and beginnings, but it can still look professional. And I'll walk you through what that means. Okay. So before we get into what you do need, let's talk about what you do not need. A lot of people think they need a big fancy website. When you're just getting started, you do not need any of that nonsense. Yes, eventually I want you to have a website, and later on we'll talk about what you would need in a website, things like that. But when you're just getting started, you do not need the big fancy website yet. What you also don't need to think about your incorporation structure. Do you need an LLC and sole proprietor, all these things? I'll do another episode in the future sort of breaking that down and what that means and the thresholds you need to think about as you look at those options. But I don't want you to get bogged down by the legalese around that. You're not collecting any money yet, so you do not need to worry about your incorporation. Once you start accepting money, you will be a sole proprietor under U.S. tax law. If you're outside the US, I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on that. You'll have to go do some research. But in the US, you'll be what's called a sole proprietor, and you'll just say, hey, I made this extra income over here, and that's how you file your taxes. Don't worry about LLCs and S corps and any of that nonsense just yet. So you're not going to worry about your website, and you're not going to worry about your incorporation, your business incorporation. Here's what you are going to think about. And going back to episode 1, where I talked about the 4 pillars of an online passive income business, or your automatic income engine. And I'm going to break this down into those 4 key areas and what you need. So here's the summary. You're going to need your domain name, which is basically your URL. So myawesomeonlinebusiness.com. So brazenest.com is my URL, my domain name. And you're going to need your email address as associated with that domain. So for instance, Brooke at myawesomeonlinebusiness.com, that would be the email associated with that. The way you get those 2 things, and where I recommend you register those, is just to go to Google Domains and find your domain name, buy it. It's about $12 a year, so $1 a month if you broke it down that way. And you're going to use a Google Workspace. They change the name like every year. Google G Suite, they've had like 50 names. But right now, as of this recording, it's called Google Workspace. And that's going to give you your custom email address. It's all inside the Gmail ecosystem, but now you get to use it with your URL, your domain. So you can send people and have them email you at your professional email address, brooke@brazenest.com, or hello@brazenest.com, which is our email address. So that's the first thing you're going to need. You just need that email address and that domain so that you can start sending professional emails through that business domain. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need a place to host your valuable free content, right? That's pillar number 1 of our system, your valuable free content. Then you're going to need a way to collect email addresses and deliver your valuable lead magnet. So that's pillar number 2, is your irresistible lead magnet. Then you're going to need a place to deliver an email autoresponder sequence, right? An email autoresponder sequence. That is pillar 3. And then lastly, you're going to need a place to host and then deliver your digital products, whether they're digital downloads, a course, a membership, group coaching, whatever that is. You're going to need a place to host all of that content and deliver it, as well as collect a payment through your payment processor. So let's dive deeper into those elements. So you already know that you're going to need to go to Google and you can Google it, literally, how meta. Google Domains, register your domain, go to Google Workspace, register for your account. The Google domain is likely going to cost you about $12 per year. And then your Google Workspace account for 1 email address is going to cost you about $5 a month. So far, we have spent $17 in our $60 budget. So that's the first thing you're going to need. Of course, it's going to be a recurring payment every month for your Google email, but hopefully you're going to be making some money. So it'll be covered with your business profits. All right. So pillar number 1 is your consistent free content, right? So you're going to start delivering that value. I'm not going to relitigate that here. Go listen to episode 1 if you want me to break that down for you. And that's going to be in the form of a YouTube video, a YouTube channel, which you can host for free on YouTube. And you definitely want to use YouTube and not, host all your videos on Facebook or host it on Vimeo or other places where you can host video content. You want it to be on YouTube because it's searchable. It's discoverable. It's the number 2 search engine in the world after Google because Google owns YouTube. And so you want your videos to show up in search. And so that's why we're going to focus on YouTube for if you're going to do video content. If you decide you want to do written content, remember we're not building a website yet, you can use a free platform like medium.com. Go create an account there and you can start writing and posting blog posts right there on your own Medium domain. I think mine is like medium.com/brooke.roberts, right? And you could see any articles I've written over on Medium. So if you want to do the blog format, I would recommend starting with Medium and just pushing your content out on that platform first. And that's completely free. So get started with Medium if you want to do written articles. Then lastly, if you decide you want to do a podcast, the platform I love to use, I've used all the paid ones as well, and I've tested them out. But I think if you're just getting started, using a platform like Anchor.fm to host your podcast, it's completely free. Anchor is also owned by Spotify, so the integration with Spotify is really powerful, and you can also get sponsorships that are built in. It's a really, really dynamic platform. I think it's great. No, it doesn't have every single bell and whistle you'd ever want, but for me, I host 2 podcasts, now 3 podcasts on Anchor, and I think it's perfectly great, and it's at the perfect price, which is free. So Anchor.fm to host your podcast. So you're either going to choose YouTube, Medium, or Anchor, and that's where you're going to host your free content. It's pretty simple, pretty basic. I would say if you're just getting started in an online business and you don't already have a website, so this is different. If you already have a business and you already have a website, you can just use the blog platform that comes with whatever website hosting that you have. So if you're on Squarespace, you can do this, WordPress, Wix, they all have a blog functionality. So I would just post my YouTube videos, my podcasts via Anchor on the blog feed there, or if you're going to do written articles, do it on the blog feed there as well. I think if you're just starting out, I would set a goal. I'm going to produce 12 pieces of content before I even think about developing my own website. 12 is a reasonable number of episodes and pieces of content to migrate over to a website. I think if you're just starting out, you want to make sure that you're going to be serious about this. Then I would say once I get those 12 great pieces of content done, YouTube, videos, podcast episodes, or blog posts, then you'll think about launching into an actual website builder. And we can talk about that in another episode, what you could use. Now, if you're serious about the online business component and you don't have a website yet, but you know that you're really serious and you're ready to double down, where I recommend you get started with all of this is Kajabi. It's Kajabi. It's a weird word, but basically it's an all-in-one online marketing platform for online businesses specifically. It's an amazing platform. I'm going to do a whole other episode about why I migrated all of my businesses over to Kajabi and got away from Frankensteining and jerry rigging all of these tools together to make my online business function. Kajabi has changed my life. I just actually got off a coaching call with one of my clients earlier today, and I just basically geeked out with her about why I wanted her to move to Kajabi, and she's probably going to do it eventually, but it's going to make her life so much simpler. Like currently she's using Wix and it's just a headache and it doesn't do half the stuff we need it to do. She's already paying a lot of money and I'm like, girl, just come over to Kajabi. Now I will say Kajabi is much more of an upfront investment. I think the monthly rate, if you just do month to month, I want to say is $149 a month, which I know for some of you are like, whoa, honey. But if you are serious, they do have a 14-day free trial. So if you wanted to download my 30-day online income roadmap, listen to last week's episode and this week's episode, I also have another one coming up that'll be really helpful to you. If you want to hit the ground running and really get going in the next 14 days, they have a 14-day free trial. So if you really wanted to hustle and you really wanted to make this a reality, you could conceivably start earning an income within the next 14 days and hopefully pay for the first 6 months of your Kajabi platform. And then you'll have 6 months to then, keep building and growing and building out your automated income engine and keep growing your revenue over time. Now, not everybody's ready for that. That's fair. That's fine. I totally understand. I'm going to show you an alternative that's not Kajabi, but I am going to talk about Kajabi a lot on this channel and on this podcast. So just prepare yourself. I love it. I think it's amazing. I am an affiliate for them as well. So if you want to go check them out through my affiliate link, just go to brookroberts.co/Kajabi. You can also go to brazenest.com/Kajabi to check out my affiliate link and help support this channel if you are interested. Now, let's get on to pillar number 2 and what you're going to need to deliver your irresistible lead magnet. So now that you have your content out there, you're cranking out this really valuable free content, you're pushing it out and sharing it in all the places online, and people are loving it. And they want to go deeper with you. So now they're going to download your irresistible lead magnet. I explained all about this in last episode, so go check that out in episode 1. But here's how you're going to create that lead magnet. Let's say it's a PDF guide. Let's start with a simple one. You can go on to something like Google Docs through your Google Workspace account or just your free Gmail account. You also get Google Docs free with that. You're going to create just a simple PDF. Just type your ideas, check boxes, bullet points. You can add in photos and images if you want to. Just make it super simple, but action-packed and valuable to your audience. And you can create a little Canva graphic to host on the front page. If you download my 30-day guide, you'll get an example of this. It's very meta, but you'll see what that can look like. You can make it prettier in Canva, so you could, brainstorm all the content inside the Google Doc and then transfer that over to Canva. They have beautiful templates. You can make it really pretty and fancy over there. And then either way, whether you use Google Docs or you use Canva, both of which are free, then you can then export those as a PDF. So now you have your lead magnet, all right? But you need a way to actually deliver your lead magnet. Now, I already mentioned Kajabi, and if you wanted to go all in on Kajabi, Kajabi does this for sure. But if you're not ready for Kajabi, the tool I recommend for newbies is a tool called Podia. Podia. Everybody's got their funny names. Brazenest, Kajabi, Podia. We all love our fun names over here. So Podia is a great platform. And if I was just getting started, this is the platform I would be launching my online business on. Like if this had existed when I first started Inside Study Abroad, this is where I'd host my emails, my lead magnets, my courses, all the things, because it's super simple and beautiful, professional looking. It's very powerful. It does have some limitations, I will say, but I think this is the best way to go if you're just getting started. So Podia is $39 a month. So that brings our grand total to $56, I think is the number. Yeah, $56 a month. So we've got our domain, we got our email, and now we have Podia. If you add all those up, that's going to be $56 to get started with your online business. That's bang for your buck. And then you can start actually earning money, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So Podia is going to allow you to collect emails. You can create basically a landing page with an opt-in form. You can have a little graphic of your lead magnet and why it's so amazing. And then you can say, hey, enter your email. And then you'll send out an automatic email saying, hey, here's your digital download. Here's your freebie. And poof, now they are on your email list. So that covers pillar 2. You're going to use something like Podia or Kajabi if you want to start delivering your lead magnet. Now, pillar 3 is your email autoresponder sequence, your automated funnel, if you will. This is where you're going to send out that series of emails welcoming people into your home, into your community, saying hello, what you're all about, giving them extra value, and then basically teeing up your product and service, introducing them to your product, why it's going to be valuable to them, and pitching it to them over the next series of days. And you can do that all inside of Podia as well. All you do is go into the platform, you say, hey, new email sequence, email automation sequence. You write all the emails in there. You say, hey, I want this to go out on day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, et cetera, et cetera. And then you tell it, hey, when somebody downloads my lead magnet, send them into this sequence. And then you can say, hey, which is going to get me to pillar 4 in a second, if they decide to purchase the product that you feature in that email sequence, then you can remove them from that sequence as well. It's all interchangeable and works seamlessly together inside one platform, which is, I love. I'm not about that Frankenstein life anymore. say no to the Frankenstein life. I should make that a hashtag or something. So, all right. So now we've got Podia, us delivering your lead magnet plus those automated emails, which is beautiful. But now you have to have a product, right? So once you've decided what your product is going to be, and believe me, we're going to talk about this a lot on the podcast and on the channel. So don't fret, we'll talk about it more. But once you have your digital product, whether it's a course, a membership site, digital downloads of some kind, maybe it's a group coaching program, whatever that's going to be, you can create that container for that inside of Podia as well. And you can create your payment plans and decide how much it's going to cost. You can say, hey, it's one payment of $500 or two payments of $250, etc. And all of that can be done inside of Podia. Now, the key factor when you're building an online business or you're taking transactions online or in person, frankly, there's always going to be a third party between the credit card company and where you actually get the payment. Okay. So in a brick and mortar business, whenever you go buy your coffee at your coffee shop, there's all these like point of sale systems that they are using, but they also have a payment processor in the middle of that. So they might be using authorize.net. There's a million of them really, but the two sort of gold standards in the online space are Stripe and PayPal, both of which you can set up completely for free. And the only time you pay is when you actually have a transaction, which is great. That's a great price. We love free. So you're going to set up a free Stripe account and a free PayPal business account. You do need to delineate the difference there. And either way, it's free. And then how the pricing works for Stripe and PayPal is that they collect 3% of all your transactions because they have to shift that and send that over to Visa and MasterCard and American Express and Discover and all the credit card companies, basically. And so they have to send 3% to them. There's no getting around that. It doesn't matter what type of business you have, you're going to pay credit card processing fees pretty much, unless you do like direct payment from someone's checking account, which we are not doing because that is a pain in the neck. So you're going to pay the 3% processing fee for the credit card, and then Stripe and PayPal then charge 30 cents per transaction. So if you have 100 transactions, you'll pay $3. If you have one transaction, you'll pay 30 cents. So it's a pretty affordable service, and once again, you only have to pay that if you are getting paid. So that's the beauty of this, is that they don't just keep taking 3% no matter what, or 30 cents every single day, even if you don't make a sale. They only collect that if you make a sale. So it's very, very affordable. And so I don't even include that into our $56, because if you are paying 3% on something, that means you got paid, and that's where we want to be. So you have your Stripe and PayPal set up. You'll go inside your Podia account in the settings. You'll hook that up, and there's instruction there. It's very simple to do. You'll hook up your Stripe and your PayPal accounts to your Podia account. So now that you have your $500 product or your $50 product or whatever you want to have, now when someone enters in their credit card information, that gets stored in Stripe and PayPal securely online. They process that transaction, take out their fees, and poof, now in your Stripe or PayPal account, you're going to see $50 minus the fees, or $500 minus the fees. And then, of course, you can transfer that to your bank account later on. We'll talk about bank accounts in a future episode, just because I know people care about the logistics of some of those things. All right, so that's what you're going to need to offer your valuable digital product online. Now, what about actually creating the product? So you have to put something up into Podia, right? The cool thing about this is it's actually super free and affordable to do this as well. What you're going to do, so let's say you're going to do an online course, and it's going to be video-based. You could also do audio-based as well, which is totally fair. But let's say you want to take it up a notch. You're going to do more of a premium course experience. You're going to have videos. Well, honey, this is probably the most powerful camera we all own. And I don't know if you're listening to the podcast, I'm holding up my phone right now. I have an iPhone. I think it's one of the newer ones, but this is a really powerful camera. I don't want you to worry about having to go and invest in a big fancy camera. I don't even use a big fancy camera. Technically, I use a Canon G7X, which is a point and shoot basically. I love it. It's simple. I like to keep things simple around here, but this is really powerful. And yes, you could go on Amazon and get a cheap tripod, an adapter so that your phone can sort of sit on the tripod. You hit record, start talking. If you need to be on the screen. If you don't need to be on the screen, you don't even have to worry about this thing. All you need to do are 2 free tools. We're going back to Google once again. So Google offers Google Slides, which is basically PowerPoint or Keynote if you use a Mac, but it's completely free. It's all hosted online. You can build out beautiful presentation slides to teach your content via presentation, right? And then once you want to create the video around that, once you have your slides created, you use a tool called Loom, Loom. I love this tool. I use it literally daily for all sorts of things, but including to record my online courses. They've all more recently been recorded with Loom. And it's completely free. They do have upgrades that you can do, but it's still really cheap. It's like $9 a month, but you won't need that just starting out. So you'll use Loom, and basically all you do is you queue up your slides, you hit record screen, record audio. As long as you have just a decent computer and you can just start talking and teaching, record it. You hit done record. Loom lets you go in and take out little edits where you're stumbling over your words, or you just want to trim the front and the back of each video, and then you download it, upload it into Podia. Do that for all the videos in your course, and poof, you have an online course, my friend. It didn't cost you a penny more than $56 to just get started. So that's how you're going to build your automatic income engine for less than $60 getting started. And I promise you, this is possible. It's beautiful. People are making hundreds of thousands of dollars just using Podia. People are using, other free tools, and they're making really good money. Yes, you could spend more using something like Kajabi because it's more powerful. You could do more with it for sure. And I'll break that down, and I'll do a side-by-side comparison of Kajabi and Podia soon as well. But if you're just getting started, the tools are there for you. And I don't want to pull a whole, when I was young, it used to be this way, but I'm kind of going to do it right now. When I was just getting started in online business, when I wanted to offer my first online course, oh my gosh, I built out this custom build WordPress website using all these plugins that had to talk to all these other plugins, that had to talk to Stripe, that had to talk to PayPal, that had to talk to my email service provider over on a separate thing. I had to have another tool to make them all talk together. It was so it looked nice, but on the back end, it was like duct tape all together, falling apart. It seemed like every single day. Tools like Podia, tools like Kajabi, they give you so much power because they simplify, they streamline. It's all in one, encased in one platform, so it all talks to each other. You don't have to worry about all these tools getting messed up and missing the mark and missing all the cues when they talk to each other. It is a very, very equalized time for all of us to get started in online business, and these tools are really powerful and really beautiful and classy and elegant. If you want to get started, it looks really professional, so you don't have to worry about it feeling janky, and you can absolutely get started. Now, there are 1 million other tools. If you're just doing an ebook, you could do something like SendOwl instead of Podia. I used SendOwl when I delivered my first ebook. It's a very similar process. You can sign up for an account, upload your digital product, hook it up to Stripe and PayPal, and poof, you can start selling your ebook over and over again as well. So there's a lot of places you can do this, but you came to my channel, you clicked on my video or my podcast, this is what I'm going to tell you to do. So we have your automated income engine. We've got your consistent free content, right? So YouTube, Anchor, Medium, if you want to get started there. We've got your irresistible lead magnet that you can create in Canva and Google Docs and deliver that through Podia. Then you've got your email autoresponder sequence that you can deliver through Podia as well. And then you have your online product, your digital product that you can deliver and create and everything inside of Podia using Google Slides and Loom to get it up and running, all for under $60 a month. Woo! All right, so let me know down in the comments. First of all, first question for you is, which one of these surprised you? Are you shocked that you can actually get an online business up and running for under $60 today? Literally, I challenge you. I will buy you coffee. If you are somebody watching this right now, I want you to go do this, get everything up and running, send me an email that says, I built my product or built my website in under a day, and send me a link to your Podia, show me your lead magnet, show me your course that you created, your payment processes are all hooked up, and I will buy you a cup of coffee, my friend. But did any of this surprised you. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Leave me a comment, leave me a review rather, and let me know like what was helpful about this, what surprised you about the components involved in starting your online business, and which one of these like gets you stuck. Where do you feel anxiety? Where do you have more questions with this? I'd love to know where I can help you more in future episodes on the show and on the channel. Now, before I let you go, don't forget, if you want my step-by-step guide on how to start earning an online automated income in the next 30 days, I have my 30-day online income roadmap. I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I had no audience, no idea, no product, what I would do to start earning an income online in the next 30 days. And you can use that as a companion with this episode. Start getting your business up and running super fast. Thank you guys so much for listening and spending some time with me. I appreciate you so much. I know your time is so valuable. So thank you for tuning in and being along this ride with me. And don't forget to go check out episode 1, where I break down the 4 pillars of an online automated income business. And until next time, remember that every day you postpone a dream, you weaken it just a little. So get out there and make some magic happen. Cheers.